What secret will you take with you to the grave? The number of empty liquor bottles I found hidden around the house after my husband died. I knew he liked to drink, sometimes a little too much. We sometimes argued about it, but I did not know how much he drank. About 2 to 3 years before he died, he started working remotely, full-time. I think he started to go off the rails when he started to stay at home around the clock. This has absolutely nothing to do with the circumstances of his death, and I would not want to tarnish his memory in front of his family and friends. So I keep it a secret, but I don't mind sharing it with strangers. My ex's relatives advised me to break up with her as soon as possible because of her strange behavior. I would never tell her that. A few years after I broke up with my manipulative, cheating, and aggressive ex-boyfriend, I received an unexpected message from his mother. I hadn't spoken to her since her son and I broke up. She was probably one of the few positive parts of our relationship. She told me how glad she was that I had moved on, that I had been good to her son and helped him a lot in his life. But she was very happy to see that I was married and happy in my marriage. She thanked me for being so good and wished me all the best. I'm still sad that she has to put up with her son being a piece of shit, despite what a kind and amazing woman she is. I lit fireworks in the park and panicked, so I flushed it down the toilet. Boom. No more toilet. I was about 12 at the time. It was me. I peed on our carpet, not the dog. When I was 19, I seriously considered suicide. I wrote farewell letters to my family. The day I was going to do it, my mom decided to surprise me. She took me to visit a woman who was selling Chihuahua puppies. My mom made me choose one for myself. I fell in love with this puppy and realized that I could not leave him alone. My mom and the dog saved my life. In fact, I didn't take a year off from university to get a state scholarship. I was just kicked out because of my shitty grades. But now I'm in graduate school working on my doctorate. A friend of mine from college didn't have money for groceries for a month. He had 3 best friends, and I was the girlfriend of one of them. I wasn't rich either, and I got some money from my IT work at school. So I withdrew $200 and left them in an envelope at his house. He still thinks it was his friend Andrew. I never thought it necessary to tell him the truth. It was just money, and he needed to eat. I still don't know how to calculate interest. My family has a long and traceable history because my uncle tried to research it all the way back to the mid-1600s. While looking through some records from the German Federal Archives, he found his grandfather's birth certificate and a few other documents. He had never heard of him, so he decided to investigate thoroughly. In some of the documents, he saw the designation Hauptsturmführer in front of the names and became even more interested. I won't drag this out any longer. In short, my great-grandfather was a dedicated Nazi SS officer. He also joined the Waffen-SS in 1943-45 as a medic and participated in the massacres in Belgium. What a wonderful discovery! Seriously, it was surprising and unexpected to learn about this. My father committed suicide a few days before my birthday in October. The last conversation we had was about his ex-girlfriend cheating on him. My mental health leaves much to be desired. So over the past 7 months, I have convinced myself that this is her. I regret that this was the last conversation we had. There was no suicide note or anything else. I miss him every second and I just look at the urn with his ashes and don't mind. I have schizophrenia, and my uncle, whom I have never met, also had this diagnosis. So I think it is hereditary. My doctors don't know, and I will never tell them because I'm afraid they will treat me like a schizophrenic. I tried to commit suicide when I was 15. After that, the hospital made me fill out a bunch of questionnaires. One of them was a test for schizophrenia. I had heard about schizophrenia but didn't know what it was. I was surprised to find out that the symptoms described in the questionnaire were not normal. I answered most of the questions in the affirmative, but in the end I was diagnosed with generalized depressive disorder, and the symptoms of schizophrenia were not mentioned again. After many years, I thought that the suspicion of schizophrenia was not a cause for concern, because apparently such things can accompany extremely severe cases of depression. Now I realize that doctors probably didn't even pay attention to them. I have 2 master's degrees, and I can distinguish between what is real and what is not. So I do my best to ignore the hallucinations. I used to think that the voices I heard in my head were echoing in the heads of all people. Then I learned that although it's normal to have an internal monologue, it's not normal if there are other voices that don't belong to you. Like, I really thought that's how the brain works. I'm pretty sure my dad killed my mom. According to the official version, she committed suicide and my dad found her body. She definitely wanted to die, but I think he helped her do it and didn't tell anyone. I found my mother's will and other medical documents updated shortly before her death, signed by my father and her. I also learned that they had previously discussed euthanasia. In Germany, it is illegal, but they could have gone to a neighboring country to do it. However, a prerequisite for euthanasia was that the whole family had to be involved. My mom didn't want that. She didn't want to talk to us about it, let alone have us be a part of it. She couldn't even allow the thought of it. 3.5 years after her death, I didn't talk to my father about it. I knew it would hurt him to admit it. He's really uncomfortable talking about anything related to emotions. When I was 7 years old, I stole about €100 from my father's wallet. I didn't even need it. And he was always extremely generous and bought me everything I wanted. He still does it today. I'm really ashamed of him. I'm 31 now, and he still buys me gifts and little things that make me happy, even though he doesn't have a lot of money. For many years, I have been putting money in his wallet from time to time. I feel bad that I stole that €100 from him. He is a very nice man. I am 22, and I think I am developing alcoholism. I like to be drunk all the time, and there is always some alcohol in my fridge. My family drinks a lot, but I think I've crossed the line, and the worst part is that I don't want to stop. I anonymously reported to the guardianship service about my best childhood friend. She was in an abusive relationship and it was affecting her daughter. My friend was forced to live in a house with her lambasting boyfriend. He did not allow her to clean anything. Everything was so cluttered that it was impossible to even open the front door, and there were leftovers everywhere. The worst part was when her boyfriend pushed her in a drunken rage while she was sleeping with her baby in her arms. The poor baby was only a month old, and it was very lucky that her friend took the full force of the blow. The fall left her with a concussion and 7 stitches in the back of her head. Her boyfriend locked himself in the house and wouldn't let her in, while her 2-month-old baby screamed for hours in his room. All this time, he ignored the baby's cries and told her friend that she would never see her daughter again. The friend's hands felt like a piece of meat from knocking on the front door. She got into the house by climbing up a drainage pipe to the second-floor window. After that, she left that idiot for 2 weeks, but then she came back anyway. After all this and much more, my friend still refused to leave her lover, and this bastard kept swearing his love to her. So I called the guardianship service. They showed up and told her that she had to leave this place or she would lose her daughter, leave forever and never come back. That was 4 years ago. Now my friend and her daughter are doing great. While her ex is serving 10 years in prison for beating and hospitalizing a girl he started dating after my friend left him. I would do it all over again to save this child. She is the sweetest girl I have ever seen and deserves to live in a safe home. Friends, thank you for watching. In the comments under the video, write your secret that you will take with you to the grave. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next episodes. See you soon.